supposedly not going to be long. Whenever we done,
You've been good?
hey guys, hey, how are you?
That's cool. It works for us. We are one of the big programs up in the for 2 weeks.
We'll call the meeting to order. The invocation will be given by Ms. Cook, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Bellard.
Lord, you have trusted us as stewards of this parish. Please guide our hearts as we make decisions. May we always be mindful of our service and seek you first in all that we do. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We want to welcome you to the City Parish Council meeting. We, as your representatives in the Lafayette Consolidated Government, welcome your involvement and encourage your participation. This meeting is a public hearing. If you wish to address the council on any item on this agenda, please fill out a blue request to address the council form noting the agenda item number. The blue form is available to you in the foyer, and you should submit it to our clerk, Ms. Veronica Williams, seated to my left in the middle, prior to the call of the agenda item. It is important to fill in the blue form completely and note the specific agenda item number about which you wish to speak. If the card is not completely filled out or is not legible to the clerk, you will not given an opportunity to speak. If you have materials you wish to submit to the council, please give those to Ms. Williams along with your blue card. In an effort to allow everyone an opportunity to be heard, the 5-minute rule will be in effect. Speakers shall refrain from debating, personal attacks, and from making confrontational and derogatory comments. I am requesting that the first row to my left be used for media only. Lastly, food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium, and all phones and electronic devices shall be silenced from this point forward. I'm also requesting that anyone who approaches the council state their name and title for the official record. Meeting procedures are by resolution and not by Robert's Rules of Order. Documents including agenda, ordinances, resolutions, and minutes related to this meeting are posted online or refer to the web address on the top of the agenda. The council encourages your involvement and participation by volunteering for boards and commissions. If you're interested in finding out which board suits your interests, call 291-8800 or pick up a pamphlet at the door. Chair announcements. I want to wish Councilman Kevin Knockan from District 1. He will be celebrating his birthday on the 5th of April. He's finally turning 19 years old. Can you imagine that? Finally made it. Kevin Knockan will not be here. Well, he'll be late. He's at a work function right now. He's going to try to be here a little later on. But he asked me if I can push back the discussion with the ordinance item number 18, 0-066 2016 recycling contract, and then we asked that he moved it to the back of the agenda. And as chairman privilege, I will move this final adoption ordinance relating to this recycling contract to the end of the agenda following the introductory ordinances. That'll be the last thing on tonight's agenda. Council announcements. Mr. Terrio.
Yes, a couple of things. Just wanted to remind everyone that a grand opening celebration of the Youngsville Sports Complex Recreation Center is going to be this Saturday, April 9th. The ribbon cutting is going to be at 10 a.m., that and the grand opening ceremony. Also with Youngsville, they're holding their 6th annual chamber banquet, which is April the 7th, and that starts at 6 p.m. Any information that you need to get, you can actually get with the Youngsville City Hall. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lewis.
Yes, I'm just excited to announce that I will be hosting an innovative youth group called My Life. My Life empowers youth to use their voices to inspire and create positive changes for themselves and other youth in their communities. My Life, Magellan Youth Leaders, Inspiring Future Empowerment, is a free, fun, and inspiring group of youth between the age of 13 and 23 who have experience with mental health, substance use, foster care, and or other challenges. So I'm asking everyone to come and join us. That'll be at Martin Luther King Jr. Center at 309 Cora Street in Lafayette. That's next Thursday from 5 till 8 p.m. This next Thursday, April 14th. So please come by and join us to learn more about My Life. Thank you. That's all, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to move into the executive presence report. Mr. Robideau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few proclamations that I would like to introduce. The first one is for the National Mayor's Day of Service. I won't read the entire proclamation, but I would like to read a couple of the paragraphs. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges, and whereas the nation's cities are increasingly turning to national service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet their needs, and whereas AmeriCorps and Senior Corps participants address the most pressing challenges facing our communities, and whereas the Corporation for National and Community Service shares a priority with county and parish officials and mayors nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and is joining with the National League of Cities, the National Association of Counties, Cities of Service, and mayors and county and parish officials across the country. I therefore recognize and proclaim April 5th, 2016 as National Service Recognition Day. And I think Ms. Susanna Malbrough is here with others to take a picture.
Hello. I just want to say that the folks that are here representing volunteers are representatives of SMILE RSVP, and that's the Retired and Senior Volunteers Program, and also the Advisory Council members. So these folks give of their time to help the community, just as Mr. Robideau indicated. So it's a great time to thank them for their service, and then we'll be doing some more recognition for them May 3rd. We'll get more information to you about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, close it up. Close it. There you go.
A little younger to do that. We Good?
We good?
And that's true.
Got it. Oh, let's see.
Mr. Chairman, I also have another proclamation for the National Alcohol Awareness Month. And again, I won't read the entire proclamation, but I do want to mention that the Alcohol Awareness Month was founded and sponsored by the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependency in 1987. It provides a focused opportunity across the U.S. to increase awareness and understanding of the issues surrounding alcohol abuse, its causes, effective treatment and recovery options for those affected by alcoholism. And whereas this year's theme, Talk Early, Talk Often, Parents Can Make a Difference in Teen Alcohol Use, the month of April will be filled with local, state, and national events aimed at educating people about the treatment and prevention of alcoholism, particularly among our youth, and the important role that parents can play in giving kids a better understanding of the impact that alcohol can have on their lives. Now, therefore, I do proclaim the month of April 2016 as National Alcohol Awareness Month, and I have Ms. Rachel Goodo and I think a few others in the audience today to receive the proclamation.
When you get Joel or buzzers.
I just want to take a moment and thank you, Mr. Robideau, for your support and for the council for taking the time to just support us in this effort in Alcohol Awareness Month. And I do have representatives here from the Knowledge Effect. We do substance abuse prevention, and we are an affiliate of the Lafayette Consolidated Government. And our focus is collaborating with other agencies in the community, as well as substance abuse prevention with alcohol, synthetic marijuana, and also prescription drug abuse. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, and last, Mr. Chairman, as most of you all know, the Festival International is coming up, and so we did do a proclamation for Festival International Month. And again, I won't read the entire proclamation, but do want to mention that parts of the proclamation. Whereas Lafayette Consolidated Government supports and encourages cultural, economic development and tourism venues. Whereas the 30th Annual Festival International de Louisiana, the largest, most significant Francophone festival in the United States, will be held in Lafayette, Louisiana on April 20th through the 24th, 2016. And whereas Festival International de Louisiana has become one of the leading Francophone festivals of the world, highlighting the French cultural heritage of South Louisiana. Now, therefore, I do hereby proclaim April 2016 to be Festival International de Louisiana Month throughout the city and parish of Lafayette. And we certainly encourage all of our citizens and visitors from all over the country and world to enjoy themselves towards the end of the month. So we invite them all to come. And I think someone's here from Festival. Yeah, there's the group.
Fly your flag and support the festival.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you for indulging me and for allowing us the opportunity to do those 3 proclamations. I think they were important, but that's all I have for now.
Thank you, sir. Moving into resolutions. Liz, can you read the first resolution, please?
Resolution 15, 2016, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the disposition of 1 Milner washer and 2 Milner dryers, which are surplus property owned by the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government washer dryers.
Motion by Mr. Bellard, second by Mr. Lewis. Council discussion? Seeing none, any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6.
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Resolution 16, 2016, a resolution of the Lafayette City Parish Council acknowledging the accomplishments of the CDBG and home programs within the Lafayette community.
Motion by Mr. Bellard. Second by Mr. Conk. Council discussion? Seeing none, any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 6.
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 8,
Yes.
District 9,
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay, we can move into ordinances for final adoption. This is a public hearing. The blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council, and the 5-minute rule does apply. Liz?
Ordinance 50, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell at internet auction miscellaneous surplus LCG movable property which are no longer needed for public purposes as per the attached list.
Motion by Mr. Bellard, second by Mr. Lewis. Council discussion? Seeing none, blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
District 6.
Yes.
District 7.
Yes.
District 8.
Yes.
District 9.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 53, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the building or structure located at 139 Westchester Drive, Lafayette, Louisiana, owned by James Michael Logan, to be dilapidated and dangerous to the public welfare and ordering the condemnation of same.
Motion by Mr. Conk. Second by Mr. Boudreau. Council discussion, Mr. Terrio.
Mr. Viatar, if you don't mind, a couple of quick questions. Is the owner of the property here also? You could come up. Mr. Logan, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this with Mr. Viatar, which means that this is on our schedule right here to be voted on as dilapidated, and a number of us have seen what it looks like, and we understandably agree. There's a process in which Mr. Viatar follows before it reaches here at the council. Now, even if this passes tonight, which most likely it will, to be honest with you, there is still a time frame in which you can work with Mr. Viatar. Is that correct, Mr. Viatar, in order to try to resolve this? What's the time frame on that, Mr.
We have
Viatar?
15 days to sign a contract to either demolish it or repair it. If he doesn't do anything, he has, after 30 days, then we can start the process to demolish it.
And if he signs the contract for 15 days, how much time does that allow him?
90 days to repair it.
So you understand what we're getting at here, Mr. Logan?
Yes.
Is that something that you think you're going to be able to meet with?
Well, from what I understand is I just have to remove the structure from the back of the
Can you
house.
speak into the mic, please?
From what I understand, all I have to do is remove the structure from the back of the house. That's because of when this started, you know, I started working on it and took a wall out and got a problem.
Okay. Is that correct, Mr. Viatar, just to make sure that that
Yes.
back structure is
Yes.
replaced? Is there any questions that you have in addition for him?
No.
We want to make sure that you guys are agreeable on what you need to do if you want the outcome to be in your favor on this.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I mean, it's been working towards this. I've always been working on it. It's just between weather and other family issues, I've not been able to totally get done. I'd like to have been finished a year ago.
okay. Well, Thank you both. We appreciate it. That's all I have for now. Thank you, guys.
All right.
So,
Mr. Comp.
Randy. Mr. Logan, it's my understanding on the positive side of this issue, there has been some progress within the last week or so?
Yes, a lot of progress. And you can see on the second page, it'll show how much has been removed. Because they had a roof and
And you and I have discussed this numerous times, and you're comfortable with at least the 15 days.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm worried about weather, being able to work in the rain with power tools, but the biggest issue is is like really weather.
Okay.
I mean, stuff has been done, been working on this house the whole time they've been talking. They just had it covered up so it couldn't be seen.
And listen, you deserve credit for that, but as you and I have discussed, there is a code and regulation in place that in the past we have been very consistent in enforcing. And Randy, I'm certain will work with you to make it happen.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comp. Any more discussion? Seeing none. Any blue cards?
Mr. James Mike Logan had signed in.
Okay. All right, he's spoken. Let's go ahead and call the roll.
District 5? Yes. District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 56, 2015. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 15-16 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by adjusting the manning tables within the accounting division of the Office of Finance and Management to reclassify vacant accounting analysis to an accountant 3.
Motion by Mr. Bellard, second by Ms. Hebert. Council discussion, Mr. Boudreau.
Thank you, sir. If you could add Lori, if she could explain to us what is actually taking place here, the who, what, when, whys, and hows of this situation being at this time, please.
In 2007, the former CFO worked with the civil service to reclassify the position of accounting analyst, but we had several accounting analysts in those positions that were not qualified to take the accountant 1, 2, or 3 positions. So we kept that position alive as long as a person was in that job. Now it is completely vacated, and that whole classification will be abolished. And it will be either an accountant 1, 2, or 3, depending upon the qualifications. There is no change in budgeted salary for that job. So it's just, now that the last accounting analyst is gone, we can go ahead and abolish the position and fill it with somebody with the accounting 1, 2, or 3 qualifications.
And as I understand, civil service is in agreement with this and has assisted with this reclassification.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the reason I wanted to bring that to light because it remains in line in what this council has requested as it relates to mid-year budget revisions, although this is not budgetary impacted, and it's not one of those ways of giving someone additional money without having that very transparent process at budgetary time. So I thank you all for that, but I just wanted the record to be reflective in that it wasn't a pie-in-the-sky type approach that civil service, who manages our personnel, is in accordance with their rules and policies. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bellard.
Yes, Lori, I think you touched on what I had. No fiscal impact, correct, by this ordinance?
There will be no change in salary. Even when the person applies for the job, they will not be granted a salary higher than what is budgeted for the accounting analyst.
Thank you. I think you touched on that, but that's what I had. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
Yes, Laura, I have a question. The position that you guys are abolishing, okay, so you're saying that we won't have it anymore. So in years to come or months to come, we won't create that position again, or that position is gone completely?
Melinda, you want to talk on that? Melinda was here when the decision was made to do this, so I'll see if she can add any more explanation to that.
Hi, I'm Melinda Phelps, I'm the controller. No, the accounting analyst position is going to go away forever because it's being replaced with that accountant 3 class. So 5 years from now, we're not going to get another accounting analyst. That goes away.
Okay, that answers my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, any blue cards?
No, sir.
Call the roll.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 57, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette Mayor President to enter into an active deposit on behalf of the Lafayette Police Department of K-9 Bodo to Charles Bazile, Police Dog.
Motion by Mr. Bellard, second by Mr. Terrio. Council discussion? Seeing none, any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 7? District 8? Yes. District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 58, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 15-16 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the extension of the staffing of adequate fire and emergency response grant period of performance from March 5th, 2016 to August 5th, 2016, or until all grant funds have been expended.
Motion by Mr. Conk, second by Mr. Terrio. Mr. Terrio.
Is Chief Benwell with us tonight? One quick question, sir. Right now, we're on April 5th. This is be extended from March 5th through August 5th. So I know we're a month behind. First and foremost, that doesn't have any effect on that grant period?
No, this is the last of the time that we have to be able to get the monies from the Fed. If you can remember, we did 2 separate grants of 20 firefighters apiece. The first grant expired 2 years ago. This grant here was due to expire in March, but because we've lost some individuals due to not making it in the academy, and one of those individuals was also a military individual, which extended the grant period for that person beyond the 2 years. We had to go back to the feds to make sure that we do the paperwork right so that we can get the extended time until August 5th of 2016. After that, the grant goes away forever, and the city picks up the tab for the last 20 firefighters that were hired.
That's what my next question was, so you jumped right into it. Because here it says the funds from March through August will be used for salaries and benefits for 19 non-veteran firefighters and 1 veteran firefighter.
That's correct.
And you're saying after the August 5th, a question posed to me, what happens after the August 5th deadline and comes and goes? LCG will be picking up the tab for those positions.
That's correct.
Any problems with
No.
with that at this point?
No,
Very
sir.
good.
Okay.
That's all I have, sir. Thank you much.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Terrio. Any other council discussion? Seeing none, any blue cards?
No, sir.
Call the roll.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7? Motion is approved. Ordinance 59, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 15-16 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by transferring $35,844 from various work orders within the fire department and appropriating to slab repair Station 8 and 10 for funding needed.
Motion by Mr. Bellard. Second by Ms. Cook. Council discussion. Seeing none, any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 60, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the intergovernmental agreement between Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government and the City of Scott concerning the Landry Road widening project and amending the fiscal year 15-16 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing reimbursement revenues from the City of Scott in the amount of $70,000 and appropriating within the Public Works Department for said project.
Motion by Mr. Terrio, second by Mr. Bellard. Council discussion? Seeing none. Blue cards?
No, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 61, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the Ambassador Caffrey Gravity Main and Water Line Installation Project a public necessity and authorizing the acquisition of the necessary land, servitudes, easements, rights-of-way, and other property rights requisite to the construction of said project either on an amicable basis or through the use of expropriation process if necessary.
Motion by Ms. Hebert, second by Mr. Lewis. Council discussion? Seeing none. Blue cards?
No, sir.
Call the roll, please.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9? District 2?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Bruce moved.
Ordinance 62, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 15-16 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing revenues in the amount of $25,000 received from the sale of CDBG-assisted property located at 750 Ridge Road and appropriating within the Community Development Department.
Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Terrio, second by Ms. Cook. Council discussion? Seeing none. Any blue cards?
Yes, sir.
Call the roll.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 63, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 15-16 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by decreasing anticipated revenue to actual revenue received from homeowners' contributions associated with the prior year 2014 Home Housing Rehabilitation Program carried out by the Community Development Department.
Need a motion? Motion by Mr. Boudreau, second by Mr. Comte. Council discussion? Seeing none. Any blue cards?
No, sir.
Roll, please.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Ordinance 65, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council providing for the abandonment of a portion of a right-of-way of Claiborne Drive in Vegno subdivision, extension number 1, and a portion of the right-of-way of an unnamed public road located in the 1200 block of East Willow Street.
Motion by Mr. Boudreau, second by Mr. Comte. Council discussion, Mr. Terrio.
Quick question, is Mr. Carroll here tonight? Or somebody from Public Works? The only question I have, Mr. Carroll, is that here it says a portion of the right-of-way of an unnamed public road. It's a public road, doesn't have a name. Is this going to pose any problems for you in the future, sir, or Public Works?
Not that we see it this time.
I mean, we have public roads that don't have, we have a lot, I guess what I'm asking is, do we have a lot of circumstances that here where we have a portion where we're going through a right-of-way on an unnamed public road? Do we see this often come before the council?
Rarity,
That's the first time I ever saw it. So it doesn't cause a problem for you guys?
not for us. In particular, it would be more for, planning or post office or something like that if you've got an issue. Not so much for us.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Mr. Terrio, this is in my district, and this is something tied to further development at Turley's Catholic High School. What's happening here, this public road that has been identified was on a plat. It's not a road that is actually in effect and being used by anyone.
Gotcha.
And what has happened is that because the right-of-way was previously dedicated for future development, and that has now changed because of the more recent development taking place, in order to free the title, and clear the title, this was necessary so that it could be abandoned. So that's why the public road was not named, because the development hasn't expanded to that point yet, but the plat had already been approved through the planning and zoning process.
Okay, Appreciate it. Thank you.
And the neighbors, they all affected neighbors have been contacted. It was a very public process as always. We did receive a number of calls out of other concerns, but all were addressed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll.
Push it over. There you go. All right. Any more council discussion? Seeing none, any blue cards?
Yes, sir. We have two people who signed in, Dominique, Naomi, and Randy Lawley, but they both signed in to support the ordinance and only to respond to questions.
Okay, I don't see any questions. Let's go ahead and call the roll, please.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you, Liz. Item number 18 has been moved to the end of the agenda. Let's go to announcements of vacancies on boards and commissions. Liz?
Due to resignation, a vacancy exists on the City Parish President's Awareness Committee on Citizens with Disabilities for 1 year and 9 months, the remainder of an unexpired 3-year term. Individuals wishing to submit a resume for this volunteer position must have disability life experience. Due to resignation, a vacancy exists on the Planning and Zoning Commission for 4 years and 8 months, the remainder of an unexpired 5-year term. Individuals wishing to submit a resume for this volunteer position must reside in the unincorporated area of Lafayette Parish. Individuals wishing to submit a resume for the above volunteer vacancies must be a registered voter and a resident of Lafayette Parish, Act 472 of the 2008 Louisiana Legislative Session, now codified as LARS 42:1124.2.1, requires financial disclosure under certain circumstances. Resumes are to be forwarded to Veronica L. Williams, Clerk of the Council, Post Office Box 4017-C, Lafayette, Louisiana 70502, or emailed to bclafayette@lafayettela.gov no later than noon Tuesday, April 19th, with council appointment to be made on May 3rd, 2016.
Thank you, Liz. Consider appointments by the council as a whole to the boards and commissions. Liz, go ahead and read, please.
Appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 5-year term effective June 5th, 2016, unincorporated.
Okay, the resume is received for consideration from John J. Gilbo and Donald H. Valerie, Sr. John Gilbo is the incumbent.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Mr. Gilbo.
Mr. Conk nominates Mr. Gilbo,
I'll nominate Mr. Valle.
and Mr. Boudreaux nominates Mr. Valle. Any other nominations? Seeing none? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote and state the last name of the person you're voting for.
District 7? District 8? District 9? District 2?
Gilbo.
District 3? District 4? District 5? District 6?
Gilbo.
Mr. John Gilbo has been appointed. Appointment to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a 3-year term effective January 19, 2016, alternate.
Okay, the resumes received for consideration are from Mark DeCluid and Ann Formosa, and there is no incumbent submission. Floor is open. Mr. Bellard nominates DeCluid.
Who's the other one?
Formosa.
Formosa.
Yeah, it's.
I withdraw my
Want to withdraw DeCluid? Okay.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Okay.
50-50, yeah.
So, Formosa?
Yes.
Formosa's been nominated. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote and just vote yes or no.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9? District 2?
Yes.
District 3? District 4? District 5? District 6?
Yes.
District 7? Ann Formosa's been appointed. Appointment to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a 3-year term effective February 1st, 2014, alternate.
Okay, Ms. Formosa was just appointed to the other seat, and now Mr. DeCluid is the only one left. Mr. Bellard wants to nominate Mr. DeCluid. Any other nominations? Okay, call a roll, yes or no?
District 9? Yes. District 2?
Yes.
District 3? Yes. District 4?
Yes.
District 5? Yes. District 6?
Yes.
District 7? Yes. District 8? Mr. DeClue's been appointed.
Thank you, Liz. Appointments by council members, mayor, president, and/or any other direct appointing authority. Go ahead, Liz.
District 7, Annette Cook appoints Judy Placer to the Recreation Advisory Commission for 8 months, the remainder of an unexpired term effective March 7, 2016.
Thank you, Liz. We're going to move into introductory ordinances. I'll entertain a motion and a second for Globo. Motion by Mr. Terrio. Second by Ms. Hebert. Liz, go ahead and read, please.
Ordinance 67, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to assign a zoning classification to property annexed by Ordinance 282, 2015, case number ZON 2016-10, 1700 block Londonville Road annexation, located generally north of Londonville Road, east of Vero School Road, and south of Ambassador Caffrey Parkway. Ordinance 68, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to reclassify property known as New Center Commons, case number ZON 2016-11, New Center Commons property rezoning, located generally east of South Hugh Wallace Road, west of Southwest Evangeline Thruway, and south of New Center Drive from IL Industrial Light to RS1 Residential Single Family. Ordinance 69, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code and the official map of the City of Lafayette, providing for the annexation of additional land into the corporate limits of the City of Lafayette, Louisiana, case number ZON 2016-12, 208 West Pondemuto Road annexation, located generally east of Bordet Road, south of West Pondemuto Road, and west of Interstate 49, which is located within Lafayette City Parish Council District Number 3 for voting purposes, and assigning a zoning classification of CH Commercial Heavy. Ordinance 70, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code and the official map of the City of Lafayette, providing for the annexation of additional land into the corporate limits of the City of Lafayette, Louisiana, case number ZON 2016-13, 210 West Pondemuto Road A annexation, located generally east of Bordet Road, south of West Pondemuto Road, and west of Interstate 49, which is located within the Lafayette City Parish Council District Number 3 for voting purposes, and assigning a zoning classification of CH Commercial Heavy. Ordinance 71, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code and the official map of the City of Lafayette, providing for the annexation of additional land into the corporate limits of the City of Lafayette, Louisiana, case number ZON 2016-14, 311 and 313 St. Marguerite Street annexation, located generally north of Carmel Drive, east of Louisiana Avenue, and south of East Willow Street, which is located within Lafayette City Parish Council District Number 4 for voting purposes, and assigning a zoning classification of RS1 Residential Single Family. Ordinance 72, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the Unified Development Code so as to assign a zoning classification to property annexed by Ordinance 194, 2015, case number ZON 2015-34, Elaine et al. Annexation, located generally east of the Vermilion River, north and south of East Broussard Road, and west of Vero School Road. Ordinance 73, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell at an internet auction miscellaneous surplus which was police evidence and is no longer needed for public purposes as per the attached list. Ordinance 74, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell at an internet auction miscellaneous surplus LCG movable property which are no longer needed for public purposes as per the attached list. Ordinance 75, 2016, an ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government to sell a 2013 Winnebago mobile command unit which is no longer needed for public purposes to Southland Fire and Safety Equipment for a total bid price of $28,000. Ordinance 76, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 15-16 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by adjusting line items in the amount of $65,000 within the Lafayette Police Department. Ordinance 77, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council authorizing the filing of an application with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for an assistance to firefighters fire prevention and safety grant for the fire department. Ordinance 78, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending Ordinance 135, 2004 by authorizing urban infill program income, which includes proceeds from the sale of homes constructed by community development and sold to income-eligible home buyers, to be redirected to other home-eligible activities. Ordinance 79, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council amending the fiscal year 15-16 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by authorizing the receipt of $25,000 in Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act Job-Driven National Emergency Grant Funds from the Louisiana Workforce Commission through the St. Leger Parish Government and Local Workforce Development Board Number 40, and appropriating revenues within the Community Development Department Workforce Development Division budget. Ordinance 80, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council providing for the abandonment of a portion of a sewer easement on Lot 21A and Lot 22 of Oakwater Estates, having municipal addresses of 205 Lakewood Drive and 207 Lakewood Drive, respectively. Ordinance 81, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council providing for the abandonment of a right of access easement on Lot 1A, Lot 9B, and Lot 10A in Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Cobblestone Court, having municipal addresses of 700 Cobblestone Road, 150B South Beetle Road, and 150C South Beetle Road, respectively. Ordinance 82, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council declaring the building and structure located at 1021 Madeline Avenue, Lafayette, Louisiana, owned by Russell R. Augustine, to be dilapidated and dangerous to the public welfare and ordering the condemnation of same.
Thank you, Liz. Any council discussion on these introductory ordinances? Seeing none. Any blue cards on these introductory ordinances?
We did have one person who signed in for number 26, the new Common Center rezoning matter, only if you had questions, though.
Any questions? Okay, let's go ahead and call a roll.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 6?
Yes.
District 7?
Yes.
District 8?
Yes.
District 9?
Yes.
Motion is approved to introduce.
Okay, let's go ahead and read item number 18, please.
Ordinance 66, 2016. An ordinance of the Lafayette City Parish Council providing for the collection and disposal of solid waste in the city and parish of Lafayette by authorizing a contract with BFI Waste Services LLC for recycling services in the city of Lafayette, and by amending contract number 500-08-087, providing for the collection and disposal of residential solid waste for the purposes of extending the terms of the contract and adjusting the method of calculating modifications to rates.
A motion? I need a motion. Motion by Mr. Boudreau, second by Mr. Lewis. Council discussion. Mr. Bellard, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Carroll? My question is just for the unincorporated area recycling. Can you please give us a brief overview, either you or Mr. Pope or whoever will talk about it, what will be offered to them instead of full-time recycling in the unincorporated area?
The current contract provides strictly for recycling within the city of Lafayette. The RFP that was generated, I believe during the fall sometime, had the base services as the city of Lafayette and the unincorporated areas. This contract came in higher. There's no question about the cost rising. As far as recycling in the parish, obviously it's a little bit more expensive. You don't have a density of residents, so it's a little bit more cumbersome for the vendor to collect it. Right now, anybody in the parish has the options to call a local vendor to recycle. Just as I think that they had made comments that we weren't going to collect in apartment complexes or commercial. Part of that problem is having to get on private property to do it. But any of those people right now have the option to contact with any of the local vendors to collect that. So in the parish with recycling, we talk to the vendors and, would obviously like to make them more open to having some private arrangements with, whether it be subdivisions or area communities to try to get recycling going in those areas.
So let's just say there was a homeowners association, for an example, wanted their neighborhood to have recycling, they can enter an agreement with any of the vendors for that recycling.
Yes, sir, as it is right now, yes.
And in this contract, if people in the unincorporated want to recycle, in this particular contract, do we give them a place to bring recyclables?
Yes, there's a provision in the contract, just as it is right now, that the vendor will provide an option or an avenue for them to bring recycling to a certain particular site.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair, at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Bellard. Mr. Terrio.
Just to follow up on what y'all were discussing with Mr. Bellard, I think I have 2 or 3 subdivisions in my district that are actually doing that at this point. I think where you have to have a majority of the subdivision agree to do the contract with whoever it is, the subcontract with them to have recycling done. Because naturally you don't want just, if you have a 100 home development, you only get 10 people, they're not going to come in and do recycling. Right. So you have to have a majority, so I just wanted to mention that. Let's start off with the recycling contract. This is a new one, and if, I guess in order to remind everybody, I guess, why we looked at this new contract for recycling, Mr. Carroll, I think you'll remember the previous council had some issues. Number one, Progressive was one that had it, and that was one that had a lawsuit against LCG for the circumstances there. And also there were some issues, if I'm not mistaken, brought up about missed pickups on the recycling side. Was there not also, wasn't that part of it?
Prior to my time back here, maybe Mark can address that.
Yes, sir. Mark Pope, Environmental Quality Manager. Yes, sir. We had some serious issues going back to September 2015, and it continued for several months.
Okay, so that's where I wanted to go with this. Now, with the new contract just on the recycling side, number one, and maybe you can clarify, I don't see any penalties indicated on the recycling side for a missed recycling pickup. I see a percentage in there based on the first year. Is that what you're talking about, Mr. Pope? Or
the penalty is defined as current penalty, and it's 120% of the current monthly fee.
Gotcha.
For a verified miscollection.
Okay, so elaborate. Say if on a monthly basis, how would that pan out to so many missed pickups per month? How would they be in violation on a monthly basis of the amount of recycling done? How many missed pickups would they have to miss to be in violation of this contract?
I don't know if we set a certain threshold to be in violation of the contract. They will be penalized for whatever missed collections that will be deducted from their revenues coming in. I know in a previous contract with solid waste, we had a performance of 99.75%. I don't know that we put that into this contract.
Okay, and I didn't see it. That's why I was asking. I wanted to clarify and make sure.
Is your question about termination of the ultimate termination of the contract?
Well, I read through that on some of the requirements, which means naturally LCG has a number of options on the termination of contracts, failure to perform, and so I think we're good on that. This recycling contract, from what I understand, an annual basis is $1.1 million?
Roughly, yes, sir, at the current rate.
And
$2.40 a month.
And from what the contract states is that it will not go up in the first year.
That's correct, yeah.
Is there any chance, and I'm just asking Mr. Carroll, is there any chance we could have said maybe 2 years or 3 since we're giving them a new contract? Or was the agreement just for the 1 year?
Well, for that first year, then there is a provision in the contract that every year, based on certain CPI indices, it is adjusted. matter of fact, I had worked up a chart, and I'll hand this out to Veronica, maybe she can give it to you.
I see what you're doing here, Mr. Carroll.
Yeah,
This is pretty good.
what I did, I took the current recycling contract with current vendor and went back to 2007. I also did the same thing for the solid waste contract, except I went back to 2009 when automated collection began. And what I did, I showed the beginning rate at each of those, the adjusted rate, how much it increased or decreased, and the percent change. So for the recycling contract over the last, that's 9 years, the average change in the price was 4 cents a year. The average change percentage-wise was 1.89%. So it is, especially when you're talking about $2.40, that is minuscule. Actually, last year it went down 1 penny. It went from 2.41 to 2.40. For the solid waste contract since 2009 with automated collection, it has gone up an average of 34 cents a year, or 1.67%. So, I know everybody is somewhat fearful of some major increase, but historically we have not had that. And we put a provision in there, I know we've had some questions about it, what we call a floor and a ceiling. So instead of, we will have the computation, but we're not going to go to a negative number. So instead of a 1 cent decrease, it would have been just kept at zero. However, fuel prices are incredibly low right now. If something happens worldwide or whatever and they spike up, we will contain it as a maximum increase of 8%. So that's what we have for both the recycling and the amendment for the solid waste contract, to have a floor and a ceiling.
Very good. And you touched on a point, I had a question that I did not have an answer for, so maybe you can give me a response to provide to somebody, is that in dealing with the fuel, diesel used to be at around $5 a gallon. You remember that? Now it's cheap.
Right.
So, some areas it's still below $2. So what their question is that since that was such a massive drop in the fuel costs, why didn't they see a reduction in the trash, in the price that they were paying for solid waste pickup because of that massive drop in the cost of fuel?
I don't know if that's been more of a gradual, can't say I'm an expert in how the fuel has dropped periodically over the last couple of years. But for example, this past year, the solid waste collection went down 40 cents, 1.8%. And there again, recycling went down a penny. So I don't know if that was more of a gradual decline but that's in the computation.
Okay.
So, it could have been that the diesel or gasoline index went down while the garbage index may have gone up. So they may have offset one another.
And then also you have employee costs, any other costs that are associated with that, that's all brought into the same picture. CPI, employee costs, gas, fuel costs.
So I think probably what happened was that the fuel adjustment was offset by a garbage adjustment, a national CPI adjustment.
Okay.
Or a CPI, yeah.
Okay, we got that. Let's see. Now, in this contract, and again, another question I need you guys to educate me on, is that we currently have, what we're doing here is we're basically having a new recycling contract. We're giving it to a new provider, but it's piggybacking on the existing solid waste contract. And what we're doing is combining them together, number one, to make sure that the renewal date or the start date is the same. Am I correct?
Yes, they're still two separate contracts, but they will be running concurrently.
Okay, and what we're doing at this point is by starting the new contract for recycling with the same company that provides the solid waste pickup, we are renewing their contract for 5 years in addition to the recycling, which they're both being up for 5 years, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. With that amount, and hopefully my figures are correct. Hang on a second. In dealing with the contract for recycling, that is particularly in the city, like you and Mr. Beller were talking. But in there, I see a term called non-exclusive. And non-exclusive, and actually exclusive means that only one can do it. Non-exclusive means anybody can do it. So the question is, in the city and the unincorporated, but let's just use the city for example, Mr. Carroll, because non-exclusive is in the contract, can a city resident contract with somebody else other than Republic Services and provide themselves with recycling, or better yet, solid waste pickup?
What I would like to do in this case is defer to our legal counsel, who was involved in the makeup of this contract as far as the non-exclusive clause.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I can do is ask Mr. Minix, who is the firm that worked with my office to draft this contract, if he could come up to the podium as well. And I'll tell you what my understanding is that the non-exclusive franchise language relates to a necessary component in the contract that allows for the negotiation and execution of the contract outside without having to comply with the public bid law. If it is an exclusive contract, we are required to bid it and comply with the public bid law. That's, my understanding, is the primary purpose for that particular provision. The contract does not speak directly to the issue of what if a resident within the corporate limits of the city of Lafayette decides to contract with some other entity, what happens in that circumstance. I don't think the contract actually deals with that. Now, Mr. Minix may have some additional comments on the scope of that non-exclusive, and it may very well address that particular issue.
I agree with what Mr. Escott mentioned, and I'm Ricky Minix with the law firm of Simeon and Minix. The non-exclusive part of it gives the parish the ability to get out of this contract and to be able to have others if they want to. So the answer to the question is yes, that a resident could, if they wanted to enter into a contract with someone else.
Okay. And Mr. Carroll, you have something to add?
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would add is by our ordinance, this is mandatory. So
that's why I'm asking,
yeah.
Mr. Carroll. That's exactly why I'm bringing this question up, is that I see the phrase non-exclusive in there.
Right.
And from what we were told all along, you were here and then left, and then I know you came back, Mr. Carroll, but we were always told that it was mandatory and you could not have any other service provider.
Right, and the point to be made on that is that they certainly can contract with another contractor, but they are still required to pay the $2.40 under the contract. It's a mandated charge. So if they want to pay another provider another $2 or $3.40.
While they're paying this one?
Yes, they can't get out of the $2.40.
Okay, now does this apply both to recycling and solid waste? So for both of them? Okay, so which brings us up to the next one, and Mr. Carroll, I don't know if you were here, but Mr. Pope, you brought this a while back. We still have a number of residents that do not have solid waste cans or recycling cans and refuse to do that.
Yes, sir. I
mean, from what I remember, this was probably a year or two ago. I mean, we're still looking at a substantial amount. I think it was 500 or plus thousands.
The number is estimated to be 2,000.
That's what I thought. So what are we doing in this case to the people who are not following what everybody else has to abide by?
Well, Republic Services is looking at an audit. In other words, you can project or estimate that roughly 2,000 households in the unincorporated parish are not signed up for the mandatory garbage, but until you do a physical audit of each road and find out what is a valid residential address, does it have the mandatory garbage service, yes or no? That's the only way to compile an accurate list, is to physically do an audit of the roads in the unincorporated parish.
You don't have that issue in the city. It's billed on your electric bill, your utility bill.
And then it's not, right?
Right, and recycling in this particular contract, it is mandatory for the residents of the city of Lafayette. However, the distribution of carts has been voluntary up to now. So we've got 38,000 plus customers in the city of Lafayette, and there are about 19,000 carts out. In this particular contract, every resident will be provided a cart, and it will be the 96-gallon big cart. So they'll distribute 38,400 carts.
If I'm not mistaken, and this happened a while back, so check my memory on this. I remember an individual in the unincorporated, Mr. Pope, I don't know if you remember it either, but there was an individual that had a cart that refused and said, I want to have nothing to do with that, come get my cart. And they came and got the cart because they said they were no longer going to pay the bill. So they came and got the cart and he's not paying the bill. So how does that interact with what we're talking about here, Mr. Carroll?
I'm going to defer to Mark, because I know there's been a lot of conversation during my absence about how maybe to get some enforcement from a legal standpoint. I believe that goes back, I think Mike Hebert may have worked on that at some time, and Mark may be more familiar than myself.
Okay.
Either you apply a penalty, which is in the Chapter 74 solid waste law passed in late 2014 by this very council. You either apply that penalty, but we've been kind of, it's a systematic thing, or as Mr. Escott would tell you, or you bring them to a competent court of jurisdiction. So we've just never applied the law because we need to apply it uniformly and we need to apply it in a systematic way. We've met with Republic, we've outlined a plan once we start enforcing the Chapter 74 mandatory garbage, because there are various steps. People, just like tall grass or any other violation of an environmental law, they're given an opportunity to rectify, to correct the situation, and that's due process. So you have to give them a timeline to correct it. If they don't correct it, then you apply the penalties.
Very good point. Very good point. So we still have more work to do on that aspect of it. Understandable. Now, people watching or people here may be wondering, Mr. Terry, why are you asking so many questions? Number one, the other council members are saying he always does. But we're looking at an annual $1.1 million for recycling, an annual $14.7 million for solid waste. So over 5 years, we're looking at an $80 million contract. $80 million. So with that said, one of my final questions for now is, and hopefully you can help, I guess, Mr. Carroll, I'll ask you this. In dealing with, let me start with the solid waste first, the solid waste contract, because basically we're mimicking the existing solid waste contract, am I correct? And adding it to the recycling contract and moving it forward 5 years, renewing it for 5 years.
The solid waste contract?
The solid waste contract.
Yeah, the existing contract will be renewed for 5 years, and there are certain provisions that will going to mirror what is in the recycling contract.
Okay, so basically, the same solid waste contract we had previously is just being moved forward, though, with no additional amendments?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that said, my first question is dealing with the solid waste, and my concern is that for LCG, and I'm looking out for LCG here, is that who controls the waste trail? The solid waste trail, who controls it? My meaning for that, for those listening, the definition is that who controls from when the trash is picked up to where it's going to be delivered. So let me expand on it. Does Allied Way or Republic Service, do they own the landfill in which the trash is being brought to?
I think they would have to answer that question. I think it's yes, but they'd have to answer that question.
Okay, because I mean, it makes a big difference. And let me do this. Can you come up, Mr. Guidry? Are you the spokesman for them tonight? And all I can tell
Bobby
you.
Guidry, representing Republic Services, well, representing BFI Waste Services, LLC, doing business as Republic Services of Acadiana. On the question about flow control, there's no flow control, which means LCG doesn't control the flow of the waste stream after we collect it. The contractor controls the flow. And we haul it to Jeff Davis Parish Sanitary Landfill that's owned by Jeff Davis Parish Solid Waste Commission. It's a governmental entity that's, I guess it was a taxing authority that was established by legislative act but we don't own the landfill. We do operate the landfill under an operating agreement, but we do not own the landfill.
Okay, well, that's going to bring me to my second question. But first of all, to let you know, how can I say this politely, but some of these garbage contracts, they're very in-depth, and you got to look at them from a lot of angles.
That's why
bear
you have
with
these
me.
folks here
Yes,
on your behalf.
So again, the reason I ask about the waste trail is because, so what you're telling me is that the 5-year, $80 million contract you guys are receiving does not include the landfill. You guys are going to get paid $80 million to pick it up and bring it to them.
Well, we actually have a couple of disposal sites. One disposal site is the Jeff Davis landfill that we haul to, and we pay a disposal fee there.
And you do not own that, so.
And we don't own it, so that's a cost that has to be absorbed in that $80 million.
That's my next point. That's where I was going.
Okay, another disposal site actually is owned and operated by Lafayette Consolidated Government, and that's the compost facility. And we haul all of our yard waste material to the compost facility, and we pay a disposal fee there, which is included in that $80 million that you refer to. So that's another cost that's associated with it.
Absolutely.
The $80 million is, there's, it's not $80 million worth of profit, but it's $80 million.
I agree. Now, with that said, say, we understand where you guys stop. Let's use the Jeff Davis, for example, because you guys are getting paid 5 years, $80 million. But Jeff Davis landfill is making a substantial amount of money because it's got to be paid in order to bring that there. Do we know the numbers on what they're making? Because that is a huge amount of money.
They do track the disposal, the disposal that we send. I mean, the tonnage, and we do give those reports. We turn those reports in on a regular basis. That can be calculated, but that's Jeff Davis Parish. I assume Jeff Davis Parish is not in position to allow us to take it there for free.
No, and I agree. So that amount out of what you guys are being paid, y'all are paying that amount in order to deliver that.
We paid,
not LCG.
we pay a disposal fee. The contractor, we're responsible for this disposal. We have to enter into a disposal agreement with in this case, a landfill for solid waste. We have a disposal agreement for the compost facility with Consolidated Government, and we pay a disposal fee to haul material at the compost facility.
Now, Mr. Escott, Mr. Carroll, bear with me on this, and Mr. Robideau, bear with me. The people I've talked to have said that it is in LCG's best interest to control the waste trail. Now, is there any reasoning that you guys can give me why LCG would be in a better position to want to control the waste trail instead of having somebody else to control it? That's what that's a question I'm throwing out. Which means that would LCG be able to tell where you guys would have to bring it to? And that's the question I'm having. There are a number of instances. Mr. Pope?
William, part of what you're getting at is that the reason for control of the waste stream, in the previous contract, when LCG started with BFI in 2000, there was a provision that if LCG found a landfill, to bring the waste for a lesser cost,
right,
it could be directed there. This current contract does not have that clause in it.
Okay.
That's what when you're talking about control of the waste stream.
Yes,
sir. There are clauses in various solid waste contracts that address those issues.
Yeah, if I can add to that, I kind of have an idea what your line of thinking is, and there's no flow control, but if you think in terms of volume, Consolidated Government, Lafayette Consolidated Government, as big as Lafayette Consolidated Government is, and as big as that waste stream is, it's only part of what Republic Services has as far as volume. We also provide municipal services for the city of New Iberia, Breaux Bridge, St. Martinville, Karen Crowe, Scott, Henderson, all of those municipalities. And we also provide commercial disposal opportunities. So if you take all of that volume, the opportunity to bargain is advantageous to Republic Services to bargain on your behalf because you're included in this large pool of volume. So if we have to put ourselves in a position to negotiate for disposal fees, we have a larger amount of volume when you add Lafayette Consolidated Government along with all of our other contracts. So, they're going to look at us as if you want to take Lafayette Consolidated Government out, well, then you're on your own to try to find your best deal. I can tell you with all the volume that we have, that's only part of the volume that we have. So I guess, it's an issue of numbers.
Okay.
So you benefit, Lafayette Consolidated Government benefits by us being able to have the waste stream and use it to get the best deal for consolidated government. In the end, that component is still a component of the cost, and we still have to be competitive in our pricing. So it's one of the components of the cost of providing those services.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Carroll, Mr. Pope, if y'all could get me some numbers as to how much we're paying at the landfill sites, how much that costs, I guess, how much they're paying. Yeah, how much it's costing you, that'd be additional information we'd like to see on y'all's side as to how much it's gonna cost for you guys to deliver for a year's time, to see exactly what's coming out of your pocket and actually how much whoever's owns the landfills are benefiting from it.
Yeah, that information is not difficult to find because we generate a bunch of reports that are submitted monthly about volumes, and you can track and you know what the tipping fee is to the landfill. So it's readily available. It's not anything that's difficult to find. I mean, it's a disposal. It's one component of it. In fact, there's a provision in the contract that allows, if there's a change in the tipping fee, then there's a calculation and a formula that's used to make adjustments based on that. So, but that information, we can provide that information on the solid waste anytime. I think it's provided right now on a regular basis. So
You've been in this business a long time, Mr. Guidry. How long?
28 years.
Yes, so I'm sure you've had the question of the waste stream come up before.
Flow control, yes, sir. And in this area, in the Acadiana area, the only flow control that I'm aware of is those parishes that own and operate their own landfill.
Gotcha.
For example, Vermilion Parish, Acadia Parish, St. Landry Parish, they own and operate their own landfill. Lafayette, St. Martin, Iberia, they have to rely on their solid waste contractor to go out and negotiate the best disposal site you can. And every solid waste contractor, when we have to compete, we're going to try to get the best disposal site we can at the lowest rate. So.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, because recycling is no longer taking glass, also, Mr. Carroll, so that means your tonnage actually goes up. That's going to be increased now since glass is going into regular solid waste. Correct?
That's correct. Some of the questions we've gotten feedback on, with the news coming out about this, obviously recycling is an absolutely essential ingredient of our environmental sustainability. But right now, and I did a lot of research on the web, just checking out recycling markets in the United States, and it is not good right now. It's a great thing to do from an environmental standpoint, right. But there again, from a market standpoint, these vendors trying to get some recoup on their money, it's just not good. Matter of fact, I had, well...
While you're looking, I had looked at a number of recycling, how do you say that, contracts to the Northeast. In the Northeast, which we all know, New York and those areas, but a lot of times it's costing the governments more to pay for recycling than actually having the recycling contract. No. So it actually, they lose money on it.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I'll read a couple excerpts from a Washington Post article. In short, the business of American recycling has stalled. Yep. And industry leaders warn that the situation is worse than it appears. They also talk about glass being involved in the curbside mix. It's the heaviest of recyclables, but it has always been marginal value as a commodity. In the rough and tumble sorting facilities, a large share of it breaks, it contaminates valuable bales of paper, plastic, and other materials. So it's a problem. So I know a lot of people say, man, why are we going to stop glass? It's just, there's no market for it. It causes problems. Even plastics. To recycle plastics right now, which is generated primarily from oil, the price of oil is way down. So businesses can manufacture new bottles better than they can take old bottles in and return them to a usable form. So it's really a tricky business right now. It's not a good business. If you read any report, I read another one in Fortune magazine, another one, I forgot what the name of that magazine was, but it's just, recycling's not marketable right now, not extremely marketable, but it's necessary.
So will you guys guard, I guess, the administration and the residents of Lafayette to make sure that we're not in a position where it's costing us more to recycle than, you know, than what's actually needed to be done at this point? Is it actually going to be more of an expense than a benefit, is what I'm trying to get at? Do you see that coming?
It may. Some communities that get paid by vendors, when the recycling market first started years ago, even here, they would pick it up for free because it was such a market value to the vendors. Residents didn't have to pay, but it's gotten to where residents are paying more and more and more. So if there's a market, they'll do it. I even read someplace that some communities are stockpiling, whether it be glass or plastics, hoping the market comes back up. Now, I don't know where Allied or BFI or Republic would stockpile this or any other vendor. Right. So it's just, they've got some significant challenges in recycling today.
And if there were no recycling, then that would increase the number of, the amount of tonnage you have going to the landfills.
Yeah, and the landfills are in short supply. I can assure you, trying to get a landfill permit in Louisiana is an enormous challenge. There's just not that many out there. You know, one other component I think that I'd like to point out, we talked about in this proposed recycling contract is the coordination of collection days. A lot of people, myself, for example, I have solid waste on Thursday, and I've got my yard waste on Mondays. No, my recycling on Mondays, yard waste and solid waste on Thursdays. They will all be consolidated, so you will have solid waste, recycling, and yard waste all on the same day.
Which is great. Put it out once, pick it up once.
Right.
Per time. Can you tell me when the last time was that maybe Tom, I think this is when you were here back then. When's the last time that the solid waste contract went out for bid? Not the recycling, because I'm fine with recycling. I know the administration went through a number of
About 8 years ago?
of things with that.
1999.
Yeah.
1999 is the last time that the solid waste contract went out to bid?
I'll rely on Mark.
The year 2000 when it started, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, for now, guys, thank you all for putting up with me and my questions. You've given me a lot of information. I appreciate it. And that's all I have for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you, sir. I talked enough to where, Mr. Nake, you're back, and now you can go after him.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Terrio, for talking for an hour. Mr. Boudreaux.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. Early on in the questioning, there was talk about the unincorporated area, and I don't know if there was a clear message. The residents of the unincorporated parts of Lafayette Parish option under this contract is what?
There will be a drop-off site that Republic will provide, that any of the parish residents can go drop the recycling. Or if you have homeowners associations or businesses or whatever, they can negotiate with basically any vendor to collect their recyclables.
So homeowner association can negotiate with this vendor or any vendor of their choosing if they want. That's them.
That is correct.
But if they would like, if they have the ability to take their recyclable contents to a designated drop-off point, what would be that cost to them?
That's provided as a service in the recycling contract.
Right.
That Republic will provide a drop-off site. There's no charge for parish residents that I'm aware of, Mark.
No, sir. Mr. Carroll's correct.
Right. There isn't. And I just felt that needed to be known as for the residents of the unincorporated area, that they are able to recycle. A resident of the city of Lafayette cannot go and drop off for free. So that cost is being absorbed. I think it's a great service that is being offered to be inclusive of those in the unincorporated area and for them to have that opportunity. But nonetheless, there's a cost associated with it. It's just that resident will not have to pay it. level of participation. I think last time we ever discussed this, we were about, within the city limits of Lafayette, we were hovering around 50 percentile participation. Is that still the case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Tom already alluded to the fact that, and this is something that I have asked for and I'm very appreciative of, because the history shows when we transitioned from recycling that was free to I remember very vividly the drop-off of the green and the yellow and the blue and the red crate with the little wording to the front. And when we went into the next contract, where we went into this larger container, all-inclusive container, that the only people who received that container were those who were actively participating with the crates. So the number dropped significantly, and there had not been a real major push. And over the last few years, 5 or so years, I think that some things have been done to try to get that recycle number up. And I know one of the things that I initiated was just the awareness that you're paying for it. So we changed the way it appeared on your LUS bill, where you could actually see recycling, environmental quality, cost, garbage waste, etc., and you see the entire breakdown. Another thing that I had been asking for since I've been here, and now we will actually get it from this vendor, is the fact that regardless of if someone puts their recycling out tonight, that if this contract is adopted and accepted, that they will receive that cart, which in my opinion will be a very clear message to them, like, what am I getting this cart for? And our department will be able to answer that question with the literature that may be placed on. This is for your recyclables, and we hope that that will increase participation within the city of Lafayette as well. So I appreciate that 38,400 carts will be distributed, and we don't have to sit here and hear someone say that although people pay that monthly $240, that we can't give them a cart at this time. If it would not be for my respect for time, based on how the conversation has been had thus far, I would even go into asking, why don't we pick up our own garbage? Why don't we open up our own landfill? And I could request what that would cost manpower-wise, vehicle-wise, what would that do to our fleet maintenance people, and just to maintain those trucks and operate those trucks? What does a garbage truck even cost today? And I'm saying that because, we're talking about $80 million over a 5-year period, but really, we're really talking tonight about a $1 million contract for recyclable. But, we tied in both contracts now, but there's a reason why it's contracted out and it's not done in-house. And some people call it small government, some people call it shrinking government, but there is a cost associated with operating this type of business. I have been fortunate to participate in the public works process and things like the issues of competitive bidding and the pickup of glass, plastic, paper, and others, service in apartments and private businesses. All of those issues have been hashed out for quite some time. And the people need to know, I don't know of a council member who didn't push and desire to have all of those things met. But unfortunately, when you're not in a perfect world, when you don't exist in a perfect world, although you would like to service apartments, when you got private property issues, or you got some folks who the owners and the layout of the apartments, and just, whether you put a large container for the apartment complex to be able to utilize versus individual unit service, there's so much that come into it. And the optimism that I'm going to have is that all of these concerns, we could continue to see how we address them. But I know the one thing that we haven't mentioned today is what would happen if service was discontinued because of a lack of a contract being in place and the ability to offer recycling services. So, if that is the desire, and the way I've always done government is, let's not brush over it, let's dig into it, okay? If there are so many concerns, well, what happens if service discontinues for a year until we get this perfect contract that everybody desires? Can we do that? How will the environmental, community feel about that? How would my children, who, I'm at the point now, I got more in my recyclable can than I have in my garbage can. I'm glad we getting a bigger recyclable can. I think I've finally arrived. I got more recyclable product than I have garbage. I think I've made it, you know. So, but, you know, so we deal with that. We deal with that. So, you know, this isn't perfect, and it's going to be, I know you, Tom, I know Mark, I think we're going to continue to work at it, but there's a lot of information, you know. We have, since we came on, you talk about the last contract that was negotiated in '99. I remember that one of the first things this council did when we took office in '08 is vote on a garbage contract. Straight out the chute. I don't know how many pages that thing was. I read mine. Remember, because that's when we talked about holiday pickup. That's when we talked about construction debris, all of those things that were impacted, okay? And converting to automation. So, you know, as you grow, as you change, there are some things that just are not perfect. But at the same time, there are some things that just cannot be considered. And to not have a contract in place, I don't think is something that Lafayette can consider. To totally deny the unincorporated area of Lafayette is just not something we could consider. But if we're going to consider offering door-to-door service in the unincorporated area, we have to have a real number, because that cannot be put on the back of city residents also. So now if you want to start talking about maybe a $6 recycling fee to service the parish, but I don't think anybody wants to talk about large numbers. You know, it's back to this tax thing. We want a whole lot, but we really don't want to pay for it. You know, now how much money they make when they tilt their truck, unfortunately, I don't know that. You know, I was listening to a little conversation up here. I've always believed the only way you could control the route of the trash and where it ends up at, you got to own it. I don't know how you could tell somebody what to do with something that you don't own. You know, so, you know, I want to hear some more of the discussion, but the two things that I wanted to mainly capture was the services to the unincorporated area, that they are not totally eliminated, that they do have an option. We used to drop off at the fire stations. That became a serious problem with what was happening at the fire station locations, because all types of stuff was being dropped off, left behind, furnishings and all kind of stuff. That had to go away. So this company is offering their location for a drop-off. The level of participation, I think if we could increase that, and that's why I've leaned hard on education. Mark, I might ask you if you're able to, is to tell us, I know that in the past we've had dollars associated with education and information on things. If that's part of that, I would like to hear it. But I think the more we increase recycling, the more we educate our residents, show them the value, that the better contract that can derive from it. Because although we talk about wheel rotation in the unincorporated area, because of a lack of density, even within the city at 50% participation, there's a lot of wheel rotation taking place where service doesn't exist. You could do a house, you might end up passing up 3 houses that's not participating to get to that 5th house who does participate. So is there a mandate within this contract for educational services in some of our cleanup and environmental issues and educational component of recycling?
Well, the contractor is, in the current contract, will give $15,000 annually toward recycling education.
Okay,
if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's
yes,
it.
Sir.
Okay, all right, so that continues.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I'm going to continue my comments at this point and address some of the other issues as they come forward, but those were the two things that I wanted to bring out and just make sure that we have some level of caution and reasonableness to this conversation as it relates to what it takes to provide this service. There was a man, I don't know if anybody here know the Bajas. There was a man, you know, we used to have trash companies all over the city at one time. And, you know, what's the level of service you get there when you are competing? So there's a lot of history to this that a lot of people are aware of, that I hope is taken into consideration as we go forward. But that's all I have for now, Mr. Chairman, and I'll speak up if necessary on some of these other issues.
Well, if I can just add a couple of things you said, Mr. Boudreaux. We agree that recycling is an essential part of our environment, of our community, and it just what makes us look good. When we went to the automated collection, if you can remember, everyone had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different trash cans. They were all over the place, and what that has done to the appearance of Lafayette. Right now, we reduce our waste stream in the landfill by over 40% by recycling. And we've been a leader in Louisiana, without a doubt. Hopefully it can get better. When you provide a recycling cart to everyone, hopefully that 42% or whatever can go up. A lot of states nowadays are mandating. Florida's got a 50% mandate for its municipalities. California is even higher. Don't want to compare myself to those guys, but there again, we recycle a significant amount of our waste stream, and it's important to this community that we continue to do so.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Boudreaux. Mr. Nakan?
Mr. Tom or Mr. Pope, where is the drop point in the unincorporated area? Is there one drop point for the whole parish? Will people in Youngsville, Broussard have to drive?
Preliminarily, of course, that's up to them to develop the site. I think their first indication was somewhere in the Scott area by their facility.
So we have identified potentially one point as of right now?
I think that's where we are right now, yeah.
I just want to be clear. Is the city of Lafayette subsidizing the recycling for the unincorporated area? Because I'm pretty confused as far as to that, because there is a cost associated with it because we have to drive. So when people drive from Youngsville or Broussard to make that recycling, while they're not dishing out dollars, there is a cost, and it's not mandatory, it's volatile, basically as needed. Is that correct?
I'll let you make that argument. I prefer not to get into that one.
If I can.
I just want to be fair is what I'm saying.
Yes,
I don't want this to seem as if the people in the unincorporated area, once again, are getting a benefit and they're not basically putting their weight, or they're not involved or anything. I mean, basically, if you're in the unincorporated area and you want to recycle, which I encourage our people to recycle,
yes, sir,
you still have to load up and you still have to go drive out there to bring it. It's not available at the curbside.
Sure.
And when I was talking to get curbside service in an unincorporated area, we do know that cost. It's extremely high. And I don't think that's something that we make sense to do that in the whole parish. So by picking a spot, whether it be Scott, whether it be Carencro, whether it be anywhere, the unincorporated area still has to drive there. So there is a cost associated with it.
I would agree with that, yes.
Okay.
If I can just give you some factual information, the site is proposed in the contract as the Republic Services Office, 201 Muir Road in Scott. The hours will be 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. It's as specified in the contract, and 8 a.m. until noon on Saturday. The site is going to be manned because as
what's the hours again? I'm sorry.
Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 5 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. till noon. Somebody mentioned the fire stations. It was, Kenneth did, it was a disaster. Unfortunately, it turned into a dump site. And Chief Benoit said, I'm sorry, we did everything we could, and Tom was still director, and we did everything we could, but we could not stop the dumping. So Republic will man the site, and they will be checking, from what I'm told, checking ID.
That was the same issue we had with Goodwill, I think, when people were dropping stuff off at fire stations, other places too.
So when you have these kind of drop-offs, the more control they are, the better they work for everybody, because they certainly don't want to contribute to some unsightly dumping.
Did we poll the unincorporated area to see how much interest there was in recycling? I know that we talked
did a
at
survey.
conversation.
No, sir, not in depth. We did a survey at our chemical day one time, and of course, your response is going to be overwhelming. I mean, those people are in the, the top 10% of people who are, cognizant of recycling and environmental issues, if you will. So we got that survey. I don't believe we got one no, I wouldn't be interested in it. I believe it was pretty much unanimous across the board. Sure, I'd be willing to back recycling in unincorporated Lafayette Parish, but that's the extent of any surveys we've done.
I mean, in the future, I'd like to see, I don't want to, I'm happy it's in Scott, I'm happy it's in my district, who my people can recycle, but in regards to Youngsville, Broussard, I mean, are we going to look into having other sites that makes it a little bit more convenient for someone traveling from the south side of the parish to come all the way north, or is it pretty much set in stone that Scott will be
The contract just has it at the one location. Like Mark said, and we've talked about fire stations. When we had certain things that could be dropped off at one of our yards on Benoit Road or our southbound on Fortune Road, it has really become a mess.
Okay. So it's
you
a
need
lot more
somebody to
convenient.
man a site to be able to view who's bringing it in and make sure it's appropriate.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's all. I mean, I like the contract. I like everything in it. And I'm going to support it. I just want to make sure that, everyone knows that, yes, the unincorporated area will have a availability of doing recycling. And while it seems it's at zero cost, it's because they're not getting billed. But, these people that are diehard recycle people or that they want to do, there is a hard cost associated with it. It's their time or it's their fuel or if they got to rent a trailer, whatever the case may be. So I understand Mr. Boudreaux's comment to a certain point. I just wanted to be known that, we're a community. We talk about being together. And if it's for the better of the community, then let's focus on talking about the positive. I don't want to look at negative and saying, well, unincorporated area gets recycling for nothing. The bottom line is it does cost. And while fuel is cheap right now, that might be a good thing, but it's not. Our community is struggling and not struggling, our economy, with the fuel and stuff, but in the oil field. But, I think this is a good thing, and I'm looking forward to working with anyone on the council that wants to try to better the contract or amend it or try to make it reasonable. And, at some point, if the parish starts screaming that they want it at their curb, well, then there's a cost associated with that, and then we all know what that is. And I think once you hit them with a sticker price and everybody kind of backs back down and realizes, hey, you have it pretty good. So I'm excited to see that the unincorporated area has an opportunity to recycle, being via a drop-off point. So with that said, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hebert.
Hey there. What size are the cans? Are they going to be a similar size to what we currently have, and they're both going to be the same size, recycling and waste?
It'll be the exact same cart, basically, but with a different cover lid.
Okay. And like you said, everyone's going to be getting, I say everyone's going to be getting a can, but inside the city, they're each going to be receiving 2 cans, and then outside the city's going to receive 1. That's a lot of cans to bring out there. Is Republic, and maybe Bobby, you might need to come up here and answer it, are you prepared for this many addition of cans? Are we going to have to, throughout time, give them one, or is it day one you're ready?
Well, we're expected to be ready on day one, and May 2nd, I think Monday's the 2nd. So all the carts are going to be delivered the week prior. So we've got crews that are going to be going out. We may start as early as the Thursday on the 21st. May start as early as the 21st. But all of those carts are going to be delivered. The ideal situation is to get all the Monday carts delivered at least the Monday before, so they have a full week to be able to fill up that cart. And then their first service day will be the following Monday.
Okay.
But each resident inside the city limits will receive a new cart, and it's going to be essentially the same size cart with a different color lid. Mm-hmm. And the LCG is providing a sticker that we're going to be, as we deliver, we'll put a stick on each cart with instructions, and then it'll be followed up by a mail out. It's going to come, I don't know what week, Mr. Pope can address that. But yes, all of the carts, it's a massive undertaking, but all the carts are going to be delivered prior to the commencement of the contract, the service day.
Okay, and you mentioned a sticker. The sticker is going to tell you what day both your carts go out or what's going in the carts? Maybe tell us.
Carts, the service day is going to be the same service day as the solid waste, and I think that's addressed on the sticker. But let me let Mr. Pope talk about this sticker.
Well, Bobby's got it right. I mean, if you go and survey 1,000 people, 999 of them know what day their garbage day is. So it's just simply stated your recycling day is the same day as your garbage day.
Same day it is now, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So
And
my
that's
husband
part of the
continues to put it out, not.
right, the
okay, just
convenience
checking.
thing. And the sticker is minimal. It's just so you won't have this container like you, when you started your presentation, you just don't have this container magically show up on your driveway and you go, oh, what's this? So there'll be a brightly colored sticker on each cart this is your new recycling cart. It gives you some basic information.
Great.
That'll be followed up in a couple of weeks by a detailed information card mailed to 38,400 households.
Okay, great.
Supplemented by radio and TV
Okay,
saying, watch your mailbox.
all right, great. Thanks so much, appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Boudreau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The $2.40, how does that cover the cost of recycling, Mr. Pope? Are we, at that rate, are we covering all costs associated with the program that's in place?
We are, I mean, that's a question for the contractor. We don't deal in the marketing. We don't get rid of glass and aluminum cans and steel cans. Currently, Progressive Waste / the Recycling Foundation does. The material will be going to Jefferson Parish, Bobby? The Republic Services
Let me ask you another question.
recycling facility.
How have we derived at our cost that we're charging our citizens?
It's always been based on the CPI, and prices have gone up and down for various reasons. For example, 2006, when we went to the single cart, the question was, okay, you want to go to a single cart, who pays for those containers? And the answer was, we do, the Recycling Foundation. That was over $1 million invested, plus they had to buy a fleet of trucks. That's why the contract term was 10 years, to allow the company to amortize the cost of their fleet of trucks and their containers. So it's always been based on those type of things, and actually the cost went down slightly when we went to the automated or single stream recycling in 2006. So you asked how we arrived at it. So it's a little bit of a complicated formula, and I could give you 6 or 8 reasons over the years as to why and how that happened, but mainly the increase or decrease is based on the Consumer Price Index or CPI.
Okay, so if Lafayette at this point is participating to the level of 50% participation, and if the only people who paid for that was those who were participating at that cost that we are at, that cost would go up?
Yes, sir. I would say so, yes, sir, because then you would only have 19,000 city residents paying as opposed to 38,000. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
To keep the math real simple, you'd need to double your rate.
Right. Now, Bobby, let me ask you this. At the numbers that Mr. Terrio provided us earlier, the contract, it's approximately a little over $1 million contract. So, and that's billing the entire city. If only half the city was billed, then we would assume that the contract would fall to about $500,000. Could you all operate this contract at that cost?
No.
Okay. Would you provide a pickup for unincorporated areas? Would you provide a drop-off location for those people in unincorporated area if the city's contract was not in place?
No, sir.
Okay. So this is my point. I totally understand Mr. Nakhan's comments, and actually, and I don't know if he heard, I said that I had indicated that I thought that the drop-off option was a good thing because it allowed for more people to participate. At no time was I implying, at least not at that time, was I implying that it was because of the mandate within the city of Lafayette that any and everything else related to recycling derives from. So the $240 cost is not only on the city of Lafayette, it's on the back of the City of Lafayette residents who don't pay. And I could only imagine how many calls I could get tomorrow from those people who don't pay, who maybe would say, well, I want to be like the unincorporated people. Or I could only imagine our environmental lovers and our recyclable folks who, and those folks who have a lot of concern and deal with this every day, if this council was to consider giving that option throughout the parish rather than just in the parish. So, you know, this, like Mr. Notking, I'm going to support the contract because I think it's the best contract we could get today, okay? And I'm confident that if the contract can be improved on in the future, that it will be improved upon, because your company in particular has moved their line as it relates to issues when reasonable things that have been brought forward. But there is only one population of people who pay for recycling. That's City of Lafayette residents. Now, you know, we could talk about this till the cows come home. That's in the unincorporated area, of course, because cows aren't in the city limits. But there's only one population that's paying. Now, plain and simple. And anything that happens, anything that this company offers is based on the contract that's in place for the people who's paying. If they offer 3 more drop-off points, if they put a drop-off point in each adjacent to each municipality within the unincorporated area, unless this contract is amended, where somebody have to pay for it, that's going to be based on the contract that's in place, and there's only one group paying. Now, that's what the record reflects, regardless of who, what, when, why, or how. So let's be clear on that. But I'm okay with that. The city has been carrying the water for the entire parish for a long time, and we're going to continue to do so, even with all of the issues related to consolidation. Okay? That's nothing new. Load the wagon. Because like he said, we all from Lafayette Parish, but there's only one group paying, and people need to recognize that. I wish other people would pay into it. That cost could change significantly. But like it's been acknowledged, if we was to make it mandatory, and I don't know if that number has been produced, if we was to make it mandatory parish-wide residential service, as a matter of fact, I want to know that number. I would like to know, not tonight, of course, but what I would like to know, you already have it? What would be the residential cost for mandatory residential service throughout the parish for everybody?
In the proposal that was solicited by the previous administration, I think it's about $5.10, somewhere in that range.
Okay,
to have City of Lafayette and unincorporated areas.
So the people in the city would go up from $2.40 to $5.10, and the people in the unincorporated area would kick off at $5.10.
That's correct.
Basically. So that's that cost. Now, you know, that's a difference, a little difference in over $3 worth of gas that the people in the unincorporated area have to drive to the drop-off point to drop off. Gas not $3 a gallon right now, thank God. Dang it, huh? But that's the cost. That's the real hard numbers right there. And if y'all do a survey, that's the survey that needs to be had. How many people are willing to pay $5.10 a month for recyclable services parish-wide? And that's when you get the true picture of what we're dealing with. Not reduced services, not services of convenience, not some pay and some don't, not some participate and some don't. What happens if every resident in the parish had to have curbside service, just like I was told I had to have in the city? And it's going to cost $5.10, and then we see where our desires are at that point.
Actually, based on some information we have here, I believe, and Bobby doesn't have what Republic had provided. I think theirs was $5.10 or $5.11 according to him. And we had 2 other vendors. One was at $5.85 and one was at $6.76.
$5.10 is the low.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Terrio.
Mr. Carroll, and then we'll come back. I think we're off that subject now, Mr. Carroll.
Pardon?
I said we're off of that. Next question. Under our current contract for solid waste, and this is a quickie, we currently have a penalty for anybody who does not bring their solid waste cart back to the house. There's a clause in there where you have so many hours to bring it back to the house, and if you don't pay that, then they actually can put a lien on your house. Now the question is, with the recyclable contracts, which is the exact same, what is it? I think it's a 96-gallon tote, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Does that apply also for the recycling canisters?
Chapter 74 does not state garbage cart. It says garbage cart, recycling cart, or yard waste container.
I just will make sure that everybody understood that what applies to one applies to all. If it's the garbage, the solid waste cart, or the recycling cart, they got to make sure they get those in.
The council, in its wisdom, if you recall, wrote in a warning for empty cart left at the container. So the first occurrence is a warning with a picture telling you what day your collection day is. This was witnessed 24 hours, please discontinue, and 90% of the people discontinue leaving the cart at the road after they're warned.
And I do want to clarify, I'm one of the councilmen that did not vote for that fine, so I absolutely did not support that, because if it was not paid by the individual, and if I'm not mistaken, you could put a lien on the house, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
It still baffles me. So anyway, I just want to make sure that was clear, and that what applied to one applied to all, that people need to realize once that does happen, both carts had to be brought back.
And that's something we try to work with the resident. You know, obviously, we've got a lot of elderly and infirmed, and, you know, try to get them to get neighbors or friends or, you know, people from their
I thought
church or
Public
whatever.
Works had a squad of cart police that went around to make sure everybody picked up their carts.
We're one of the friendliest cities in the country.
There you go.
Want to do that.
Good response, Mr. Carroll. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thanks, guys.
Pretty good save. Mr. Nakane.
Just to be clear, one question I have for you, Mr. Bobby. Why do we have to piggyback off the city? As far as for Mr. Boudreaux made a comment, you vouched that if we don't have a parish-wide contract or a city-wide contract, then the unincorporated area would lose the recycling. Why are they joined?
Why are they joined?
Yeah, my question is this, you know.
Because there's a cost associated with operating a manned drop-off facility. So if we would have a manned drop-off facility, there would be a charge, probably it'd be a process or a collection fee, disposal charge for somebody to drop it off.
As it stands.
For the disposal site or the drop-off facility as proposed, it's basically included because it's paid for in the services that we're providing.
Is it mandated right now? Is that a current live drop-off spot?
No, it's not, and it's actually something that was added on by Mr. Robideau that insisted that we have a drop-off facility, and we had already, you know, pretty much come close to the agreement of providing the services at the cost. So it was tacked on. It's an additional service that we offered, that was requested and we offered.
So that would explain,
for the
Mr.
cost,
Boudreaux's.
it's an additional cost that we, basically as a company, we're going to absorb.
So that would explain Mr. Boudreaux's comment in regards to there is a cost associated with it. Because you have to man it, you gotta.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. But, you know,
And
just
the
like anything else.
Just the location, I just want to make one point clear. The location, and we actually considered and looked at it, the possibility of having something manned outside of our facility. But if you look at our facility, it's fairly centrally located within the parish. It's near exit 100 on I-10. So, you know, the people